Yay!
Yay! Hi, Travis.
Everybody's all right, that's the song. That's what we're gonna do this week.
You having
Here's the
some
thing.
technical difficulties
Here's the
over
thing, people. Y'all know how bass players are, right?
there? Oh, brother.
we're kind of getting it all across of what's going on just musicians in general, because the bass player was on time, but of course she didn't check any of her gear ahead of time, and none of it worked. But the drummer's not even here yet. So it's the whole thing. It's the whole gamut of what it is to be a band, right?
I and of course the guitar player was on time and checked all of his gear, right?
Yep. I checked all my gear 2 days ago, baby.
Well, I just assumed it would work like it always has.
So if Jen sounds like she's in a fishbowl right now, it's because her gear doesn't work.
Well, yeah,
But
this is
yeah,
true.
but you can hear okay, right?
Yeah, now I got these things.
You got those fancy monitors.
I
So
don't know what happened. I couldn't remember how to hook it up.
welcome everybody. Welcome to anybody that has not been here before, which so far from the comments isn't. I don't see anybody that hasn't been here before. But we
Hi,
are the Travis
everybody.
Larson Band. Hi everybody.
Yay, Julie and Glenn and Sam and Eric. Oh my gosh. I miss you guys all
Mary.
so much. And Mary. I think I said, well,
It's been
everybody. Hi.
since, and so Glenn, of course. Uh, I think February was the last time we did this.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Hey,
and
Joe Narduli.
oh wow, awesome. So for those of you that have not visited one of these, we did. This is the 41st one. We took 8 months off though of the last one. So the last one we did was in February. I think we did one on New Year's, and then we did
Burner. Sorry.
Burner.
I'm just going to yell out names as they come.
So
Sorry.
lots to catch up on, lots to discuss tonight. Many things. I have my post-it note full of stuff that I was gonna. Oh, and just to address the issue of
I
why the
can't
drummer's
see
late.
anymore. That's what has changed in the last 8 months. I cannot see anything.
Oh, Jennifer Young just got all librarian on us.
Right.
Yeah. So
Sorry. Let me pull those back off.
so this is a outside the inn is a get together that we have. We were having weekly in 2020, and then we had to kind of start taking care of some stuff. I know it doesn't seem like it takes up a lot, but when certain levels of gigs started coming back, Dale has been doing some smaller things on Saturday nights. We figured a lot of people were probably starting to go out on Saturday nights. That's when we did the original one. Um, and that's why we're here on Wednesday night, because I wanted to find a time where we weren't competing with any of our friends. I know Andy Timmons is still doing a lot of live stream stuff on Saturdays. Larry Mitchell is doing Sundays and Tuesdays. So Wednesday night it is. And the only thing we're competing with tonight, if we go too long, I think, because I went and visited my parents earlier today, and I saw on the television they had it on CBS, and it looked like the Great Pumpkin Charlie Brown is on tonight at 8. So
Oh boy.
I know the East Coast people don't need to worry about that because they've already been through it. But
Right.
the beauty is that hey, Gino's here. How about
I
that?
just texted you. I'm sorry I missed your birthday. Happy late birthday.
Happy birthday, Gino.
Happy birthday.
So a couple things we need to get out of the way, just because a lot of people I talk to, uh, I can either kind of like sort of hide it, and then they think that I've got like some sort of a weird speech impediment, or I'm like one of those guys that does some weird drug and it makes you get like foaming at the mouth. But yes, I have what's a nice way to put it? I have some corrective apparatuses in my mouth. Remember how last year I had all my wisdom teeth pulled because I'd never had my wisdom teeth pulled, people. So I
Mm-hmm.
had all my wisdom teeth pulled on, I think it was in February 2020, which was right around the time that we did the last one of these. I think we did it right before that. Or did we do it right after it? I can't remember. Anyway, I remember talking about it, but I had all my wisdom teeth pulled at once. And then I had to wait 6 months for everything to heal. And because my wisdom teeth have been growing forward and crushing all my, by the way, this is dental discussions with the Travis Larson Band. I hope you enjoy. It's only going to be 3 or 4 hours of this. So try and enjoy the ride while you can. But anyway, so I was starting to have some issues because my teeth were all growing into each other and it was turning into a cluster, you know what. And so I now have corrective apparatuses on my teeth.
Well, lean in so we can get a good look at that.
But here's the thing. This is what my other friend Jen would tell me. She said, if you do that, then they're going to take screenshots and post them.
But that would be great.
Would it?
Ah, nice. They can take screenshots of my teeth.
Tommy says he's on his last tray of Invisaligns. Bless your heart, Tommy. So here's the thing, because everybody would say, why didn't you do the Invisalign? Here's the thing about Invisalign. Number one, I think we discussed all last year that we're currently unemployed. Number two, Invisalign takes a whole extra year. So yes, if I was out on tour constantly and I had more money and I needed to look better more often, then I would probably have done Invisalign. But since we're still kind of kicking around and working in the studio and doing stuff at home, and this is going to take, basically it's an 18 months thing. I've already had them for several months. So this is going to be done theoretically by, we'll get into this, but they just postponed the January NAMM again, which means no January NAMM this coming January. So by the following NAMM, when things are hopefully back to normal for real, then I will have these out, and I will be a lean, mean fighting machine with a perfect smile, ready to greet you and smile at the NAMM show and do all that stuff. So that's what's happening. That's why I look like I've got rubber bands. They did the whole thing. It's terrible. Jen listens to me bitching about it all the time. But Gino says, dental discussions, I'm out. No, you're exactly the guy to be here for this, Gino.
Right.
So anyway, and the other thing is, going back to Tommy and the Invisalign, it's like $2,000 less if you do the old school metal thing. So it's quicker by a year. It's less money. I totally get the Invisalign thing, and it's cool because you can pull it out and everything. But I just went in on it, and I got another guitar player that I know about that did exactly the same thing. And I'm not sure. Oh, I think he's here.
Yay! Hi, Dale.
Yay! Dale Moon, everybody.
Oh my gosh, can't hear you.
I don't know if we have your vocal yet. You have to maybe put it on the program, and select the mic, or do something with your mixer. Like, now the difference between the bass player and the drummer is, oh, there you go. Yay! Yep. You guys want to sound check real quick while everybody's watching?
Check. Test.
Check.
Check.
Can you turn up a little, Dale?
Yes. Check. Test.
Check.
How's that? Is that any different?
That's better, yeah.
Okay, cool.
I like it.
Oh, you know what? I just did it wrong. I boosted my vocal instead of master. Okay. Is that okay? Is that good?
That's probably a little loud.
Okay.
A little loud.
As Sling Blade Carl used to say, little loud. Jen, say something.
Hello.
Dale.
Testing.
Hello. Check.
Yeah, that's pretty much about as much as we would check if we were on tour.
That is
now it's time
10
to go
times longer than we would check if we were on tour.
10 checks more.
Sleepy Bear is in the building, Chuck says.
Nice.
So anyway, as Dale, we were just discussing my dental plights, but other than that,
okay.
We haven't
Got it.
gotten into anything serious yet. I was just putting that out there in case everybody starts wondering why I talk like Cindy Brady. And
Was it Cindy or Jan?
I don't know, but Cindy's the one that always lisped all the time.
Yeah, but I think she just did that.
She would always talk about Kitty Carry-All and all that stuff, right? So
I continue to think you do a great job of managing the lisp with the hardware you got going on.
Managing the lisp. I will say one of the reasons I pointed out is because even, if I'm kind of hiding it, the rubber bands tend to look like you've got cotton mouth or something. Like you don't know you got rubber bands. It just looks like you've got spittle between your lips.
Oh, got it. Right.
And I've had a couple of people. I did a thing that nobody here will know about, but I'll tell you I did it now. At the California Mid-State Fair, I showed up unannounced and sat in with some friends of mine, and just kind of showed up on the stage. There was 2 guys in the audience that I knew who I was, and that was probably it, because it was completely different kind of band. It was like a Latin jazz salsa band, but there was 2 guys that ran up the stage that were like, yeah. So I think those guys probably knew the deal, and the rest of it was all kind of like Hispanic, Latino people dancing and stuff, and they had no interest probably in what me being there or cared. But not that Hispanic people don't like TLB, but it was they were there for that band, not for me. But I was hanging out with some friends of mine and everything. But anyway, the point is that I was back. The point is that you remember when Steve came up to us, Jen, and he said he was talking to me about my teeth, and I told him that I had gotten braces, and he goes, "Oh, good. I thought you had just done like a bunch of meth or something."
Oh, wow.
It was like,
who said that?
Steve.
Oh,
Steve
Royale.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
So
you never
anyway,
had bad teeth, but whatever. We don't need to talk about teeth. Probably.
Did you say you've never had bad teeth?
You have never had bad teeth.
Oh, well, I have very healthy teeth, but they're very crooked. That's the problem.
I mean, it doesn't look like you've done meth, is what I'm getting at.
No, but it was because he thought I had like spittle and stuff.
Oh, because of the
rubber bands going
the rubber
everywhere.
bands. I forgot the point because it was like 100 years ago. Got it.
Yeah, he didn't want to look too much because then you start getting, if you're standing there talking to a guy that's like jacked up, you don't want to look,
I'm so reassured that we're bringing the exact same quality to this as always.
Yes,
right? Exactly.
I'm pretty sure no one's missing this. They're like 8 months.
No time has passed. So here's what's going on, people. Here's what's happening. I have on my sticky note right here the very.
Wait.
Okay.
I have a joke.
Oh.
Okay.
What's the award for being the best dentist?
I don't know.
A plaque.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I had to throw that in since we were talking all that time about teeth.
A plaque.
Okay.
So Sabrina says rubber bands are crazy to apply. And they keep changing them on you. Every time you go into it, I'm not going to talk about this all night, but every time you go in, they adjust everything. And then they move the hooks around that you hook the rubber bands on because they're trying to pull different teeth in different directions and all this stuff. And so, so when they do that, it gets more challenging every time because then you get used to the muscle memory every day of doing a certain thing, and then they change it on you. And then it's like, okay, now you got to wrap it up under this tooth and around that tooth and pull it over to this thing and all that stuff. So I've gotten pretty good at the current ones. The current ones are actually, once I got used to them, they're easier than the first incarnation of rubber bands. But anyway, and I have this special.
Another thing.
Another thing.
And I have this special mouthwash I have to use every night that's making my teeth yellow. I've had perfectly white teeth, and now they're all crappy looking. So like when I get these off, they said I'm gonna have to get my teeth whitened because this stuff is gonna stain them. And anyway, so I'm basically taking a perfectly nice smile and I'm destroying it. But when I get done, I'm not going to have any dental problems later in life because the problem was they couldn't clean all these tight teeth. And they said when I get older, I might start having dental problems. So anyway, that's what's been going on.
Okay.
But other than that, what is happening? Well, what is happening is Jen and I have finished demoing all the band tracks for the record. And we actually have a timeline for the album based on, there's some possibilities that we can't specifically talk about, but there might be some possibilities next year, depending on how things go. So we have a timeline to get our album out, roughly the middle of next year. And we're shooting for that regardless of whether the world shuts us down again or whether we can go do stuff or whether we can't or whatever happens. But regardless, we're going to try and get a record out. And then just to explain a lot of things that go on, we don't get controversial here on the Travis Larson Band inside the outside the in.
Glenn says, Stephanie, now you know about dental work and earwax.
That is some hardcore paying attention, because
yeah, right.
The earwax was like a year ago, right?
I know, but it was.
Hey, let me tell you, this is.
Really?
Jen, what did I get? I talked to you the other day about. I was all excited. Dale, there's this. You're clicking around on the interwebs, and there's a new ad that's been popping up for an earwax remover.
Really?
I only bring this up because we're all musicians.
Sure. I'm always thinking about that whole ear irrigation, whatever thing.
Yeah. So usually you get this big ball that you fill with hot water and you blow it into your ear until it feels like you're going to blow your eardrum out. And that's what I did until all of a sudden my equilibrium went haywire and I felt like I was going to throw up and die for 2 days. But here's the thing. They got a new thing, kind of like a cotton swab, but it's like a little screw cap cotton swab that's kind of like a drill bit. And so it's designed to not. What's that?
Sounds terrible.
yeah, but it's not. It's designed to not go in too far, but to hurt you. So you can't blow your eardrum out like I did. But you can twist it, and it's supposed to.
But you can put it on a drill.
No, it's not.
I know.
But you can stick it in your ear and you twist it and it grabs the earwax. I haven't tried them yet, but I saw them online the other day, so I'm kind of excited about this. But anyway, so what was I talking about? I was talking about what's happening. What's happening is we are all demoed up on the record, and we are officially in what we call pre-production, which is working on different upgrades and things like that to make the next album sound better than all the other albums. And every album we're kind of go through a period of figuring some of that stuff out. Dale's been learning some drum software. I'm playing around with some borrowed gear around here, trying to decide whether it's things that I'm going to pull the trigger on officially. And Tommy says, Paul Gilbert plays his guitar with a drill. Travis Larson cleans his ears with one.
Nice.
That's right.
That's right.
Hey, Joe. So anyway, hi, Julie.
Yes.
Julie said somewhere in there you mentioned music, I think. Yes. So we are basically figuring out our approach to actually tracking the record at this point. That is the next step, is tracking the record. So we're working on different gear. We're learning things. There's learning curves. There's technology and programs and all this stuff. And so that's what's going on officially in TLB world. Unofficially, been dealing with, some elderly family issues and things like that, stuff behind the scenes, they just regular people stuff that takes a lot of time. And that's kind of what's been happening. But I have my whole thing here because it segues. I know where I was going with this when I said I don't like to get controversial, but a lot of people are asking us, you're seeing a lot of bands go on tour right now. So here's where kind of an interesting discussion comes up. And it's going to get more fun. I have the whole segue planned, but
it can't get more fun than earwax and dental work. Bits. We've already peaked,
right? Hey, Eric.
Good night.
Eric Davis, by the way.
Yeah.
This is a sidetrack right here. Eric Davis, incredible keyboard player.
Yes.
Eric has sat in with us, and he is a huge Rocky fan. He and I are kind of like real Rocky fans, right? Don't mess with the Rocky legacy. Don't screw it up. We've been very excited about the recent, they're not official. Well, they're Rocky sequels, but they're not calling them Rocky. They're the ones that they're calling Creed.
Mm-hmm.
So we've been very excited about that. Eric says, "Oh no." But I haven't talked to you guys about this, and I have to remember this stuff because TLB hasn't been getting together socially a whole lot. People, although we're going to soon. But here's the thing: have you guys seen that? So this is Sylvester Stallone, because he has been he's been fixing everything about the legacy, the Rocky legacy that was wrong. He's been. I'm going to go all in and say that the Creed movies are 100% legit. And that the Rocky Balboa movie right before them that came out, I think in 2008, was 100% legit. So like not over the top, not stupid, not cheesy, great movies, right? I know neither one of you guys have seen any of this stuff, right?
I saw the Rocky. Wait, no, I didn't see Rocky Balboa, but I saw the first Creed.
Oh, you did? Okay, cool.
Yeah, it was good.
So this is really mostly between me and Eric, but here's the thing.
Something you can accomplish in a text.
So something that you guys haven't seen. Sylvester Stallone has done a full director's cut re-release in theaters of Rocky IV, which is the one with the Russian.
That I never saw. Everybody saw that. I didn't see that one.
Here's my take on it. No, I haven't talked to anyone about this, but here's my take on it. The reason he's doing this is because that's like the cheesiest one, right? So
I was banking on that one. I didn't see it.
I think, and I read about it. Well, no, and here's the thing. So in the last Creed movie, he had everybody from that one in it because the Russian is in it, and so is Brigitte Nielsen playing his wife, and all these people, but they're all older and weathered and kind of like have these more difficult, sadder lives. It's like I said, it's done really well. It's great.
Right.
Anyway, the point is, so I think Sly had looked back at that Rocky, knowing how dated and stupid parts of it were. And here's what it's looking like what he did based on what I've read and what I've seen on the ads for it is he got rid of the robot. Number one, you guys remember the robot, right? I know Jen does. Remember Polly's robot? Like, remember how stupid?
Yeah,
I know you do.
Yeah. I tried to forget about it, but thank you for reminding me.
Right, because it was the stupidest thing ever, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was stupid. You can't. It's not a legit movie once you put the robot.
Right. Yeah.
So he got rid of the robot, and I think he is redoing the soundtrack. I think. Like the soundtrack on the trailers is completely different and modern and orchestral. And you change the soundtrack on a movie, and all of a sudden, scenes that were cheesy become wow. They're legitimate acting, but it seemed so cheesy when I was hearing "Hearts on Fire" behind it, right? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So,
yeah.
Stephanie says now "Eye of the Tiger" is in her head.
Right.
Stephanie, you're living with Eye of the Tiger every day. Anyway, so that was completely beside the point of everything. But Eric, now we've had this conversation. Hopefully that'll tide you over until the next tour. But after this movie comes out, we got to check it out. The other thing that's coming out on the 8th, which is in 2 days, is Bond. Which I've been excited about. I've been excited about Bond for like 5 years.
We've moved on.
Yeah,
we've moved on. Bring forth the Bond music.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So anyway,
help.
Okay, so just a quick back to the music thing.
Music. Right.
Just so people have a thorough understanding of the world that TLB lives in, and they understand. Tommy's completely stoked for the new Bond film, by the way. Yes, absolutely. How can you not be? And by the way, I think everybody, including former Bonds, agrees that Daniel Craig is actually the best Bond. And if you haven't dug into him, then you haven't dug into him. But even Sean Connery said that he was the best Bond. I'm just saying.
He's like a really good mix between Sean Connery and Roger Moore as far as the, well, I'll just leave it at that.
Right. Stephanie says View to a Kill better. By the way, View to a Kill, shout out to our boy Joe Travers.
Right.
That's some inside stuff. Joe Travers playing drums for Duran Duran back in the day.
Yep.
Anyway.
Bye, Mary. Go sleep.
Yep.
Bye, Mary.
Good call.
I know.
Yeah, good call.
Sorry.
I'm sorry we did this. I'm sorry we did it on a Wednesday. It was just so we weren't competing with Andy and a lot of other stuff going on with people. So I just didn't want to. I figured a weeknight would be good. And since Dale teaches until 7, he wasn't able to do it earlier, which is why he came in late. Otherwise, we would, be doing other stuff earlier. But anyway, back to so here's the thing. A lot of people saying there's a lot of bands going out on tour, and Foo Fighters have been out on tour, the Stones, obviously, Genesis. There's a lot of big bands, Evanescence. My good friend Jen, my other Jen, going out on tour in a couple of weeks. Now, here's the thing. There's different levels of the music business. We all know this, right? And
Bye, Joey.
Bye, Joey.
Sorry, Jeff. Bye. Congrats on the gig. I saw it.
You guys, I have to show this really quick because Julie is our booking agent, by the way. She just sent me this.
Oh, man.
Oh, wow.
Can you guys see it?
Well, let's see.
Yeah, it's
Stallone and Schwarzenegger in the hospital together when they both had heart surgery a couple of years ago, I think, or one of them had heart surgery and one of them had. I think Stallone broke his shoulder doing one of the those movies with the what are they? The starts with an I. The Irreplaceables. The Irreconciliables, whatever that movie is called.
Yeah.
You know the one. Anyway, I think he broke his shoulder when he was doing that. And then Arnie had some sort of a heart procedure at the same time. And they both, oddly enough, ended up in the ICU at the same time. Like total coincidence. Isn't that weird?
That's
really weird. I
Yeah.
did not know that.
So, Expendables. Thank you, Sam.
Nice.
I knew. I was waiting for it to pop up in the feed.
I like the Irreplaceable better.
the Irreplaceables.
An eye something. It just wasn't that.
Right.
It just wasn't that at all.
Hey, Mario.
Hey.
Hola,
Mario.
amigo.
Hola. And so,
Okay.
you were saying.
Okay, so there's many bands going out on tour right now. Here's the thing about us is we are a mid-level band. We are not an arena band. And we're watching other high mid-level bands or high, you've basically got your local club cover bands.
Let me write this down.
Yeah, you're killing me.
The music business, according to Trey.
You got your local club cover bands. You got like theaters and large rock clubs, House of Blues, those kind of things. That would be kind of like where we sit sometimes. And you've got and a version of that's even a little higher. And then you've got arena bands. So here's the thing. The version of that's a little higher, say Dream Theater, for instance. Dream Theater had dates starting in 4 weeks. They just canceled their tour like 4 days ago. Okay.
Sam says King's X canceled theirs. I wasn't aware of that.
King's X canceled theirs.
Same level thing, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I'm going to just explain the music business according to Travis. But here's the thing. This is the deal. And why, yes, everybody has their different opinions about, being safe and all those kind of things. And I would encourage people, of course, to be safe and take care of themselves. But as far as the music business goes, when you're in an arena band and you're promoted by Live Nation, which was Bill Graham at one point, those guys are promoting every single arena that you're on the tour on. So when the Rolling Stones go out, or Evanescence or Guns N' Roses or one of these bands that's playing these huge venues, they have one set of stipulations that's controlled by one promoter. So that promoter can figure out the whole, all the vax rules and all the stuff they're going to do and those kinds of things. And they have one set of rules that everybody abides by. And I know, for friends that are out on arena tours, they have mandatory, vax testing and or, taking the vaccine. And they also do that for all the local crew that comes in and everybody that's working the show. And there's no meet and greets. There's no paid meet and greets like you would normally do on shows like that. No VIP access to tickets, those sort of things. So the thing is, we are not that band. We're not playing arenas. And neither, honestly, is Dream Theater, and neither is King's X, and all these bands that are playing different markets every day with different promoters every day. When you're dealing with different promoters every day, there's not enough venues and promoters at the mid-level that have it all figured out yet, and that also have enough of a draw yet, depending on where you are in the United States and what the thinking is on what's okay and not okay right now. There's just not enough for that to connect the dots. And it's going to be a little while still. And that doesn't come down to, I don't care if you're, Steve Morris or Ted Nugent or Travis Larson or Eric Johnson or any of these guys, whatever your view is, the reality is that you cannot connect the dots very well yet. So, so there's just no way to make certain things happen without risking massive bankruptcy and all those sorts of things. So, and that's the boat that we're in. So I just want to make that. Julie again is our booking agent. She says it's math, and she's exactly right.
Yeah.
And Julie's absolutely in this with us. And so when we start talking about stuff, she'll be first in line.
Well,
but
yeah, and even like a different perspective on exactly what you're saying is that if you're a band that fills amphitheaters all the time, you could go out and I'm sure you would probably play for a little less because people are going to distance a little more, or a few people are going to select themselves out, or like you're saying, different guidelines in different areas. But they could choose to do it and just make a little less. But bands at our level, you're doing like you're saying, the House of Blues size things, but that's kind of on the weekends, and then you're doing these smaller things during the week, and they're not always, we'll do a successful tour, but not every house is packed just based on weeknights and where you are. And so then if you take it's not every house is packed and then cut that in half, it goes back to the it's just math thing too. It's like you don't really have the option of losing money. There are people who have the option of making less money, but it's not us.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So
it's going to make the difference between you're in the black and you're in the red.
I was going to mention, Julie mentioned many venues didn't survive also, right, and the capacities are restricted. We personally have lost just in our region, even in our own place here, not even talking about, I know we lost Prague House. All the Prague House promoters are still there, but the club that we used to play in New Jersey is gone, which was one of our favorite gigs. But I'm going to say just in California, which is, I mean, you can only play so many cities, right? We've lost San Diego, Sacramento, San Francisco, and probably a few others that I'm not even thinking of. But not only did we lose our San Francisco and our Sacramento venues, but our San Diego venue, we lost the venue, and then we lost the promoter. Louis, you guys saw me posting a while back about our man, Louis Brazier, he's been our sound guy and promoter in San Diego for 20 years. and he just had a heart attack and passed away about a month ago, maybe 4 or 5 weeks ago. So that was our hook in San Diego, and quite frankly, Louis was such a huge supporter of ours. He was the guy bringing us there for decades.
Yeah.
And so we have to, aside from the fact that, losing Louis is heartbreaking, because he was one of those magical guys who was really just doing everything for the support of music and the art of it. So there's that. And then we got to find another guy like that in San Diego. So, that's the thing, because this kind of music, when you're talking about, I think it was Tommy that mentioned King's X, you're talking about bands like us and King's X and these bands that are basically supported by just a certain niche of beautiful people. You guys out there hanging out with us right now, there's we appeal to a certain level of I sound like I'm blowing this up, but it's all you guys. So I'm going to say we appeal to a certain level of intellect. So you can all pat yourselves on the back, right?
We're grateful too.
I don't mind saying it. You guys are smarter than everybody else, and
appreciate better music.
Yeah, you guys like good bands. No, but you know what I'm saying. It's a different thing. Joe says he resembles that remark. Well, not only Joe is a smart guy, but he's a brilliant guitar player. So, And Joe's, the last time we saw somebody play at Rocky C and Duke's, it was Joe. Right? I mean, I think the last time we played there was with Joe opening, right? I think, or maybe the time before that. I can't remember.
Yeah.
But,
one of those times.
Anyway, so yeah, Anyway, so just so everybody understands, that's the deal as far as why, and I think you guys are all smart enough to figure that out, but I get, a lot of people on the street, so to speak, will come up and say, why aren't you guys playing yet? And it's like, well, I mean, we can do little things, and I do have potentially, depending on how things go, I have potentially a few small things that are very local to San Luis Obispo, maybe around the holiday season. So we'll see how that goes, and that's based around the fact that I have a large birthday coming up.
Oh boy!
I'm the oldest 13-year-old with braces you've ever met.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's the deal with that. I wanted to talk to you guys about. I mentioned all these bands that are going out, and. The Stones are out. Charlie Watts passed away. So huge shout out to Charlie. You guys that have been paying attention know that even though I don't play that sort of music and it's not obvious, I'm a lifelong Stones guy. I'm all about it. And so it's been pretty touching seeing those guys out there, seeing Mick and Keith talk about Charlie on stage and those guys holding hands and stuff like that. That's been really touching for a lifelong Stones fan, because everybody always has the Mick and Keith, speculation. Do they really, do those guys want to kill each other all the time? Do they love each other? What's the deal? You don't play with somebody for 50 years when you have $400 million and not like them on some level or love them on some level. Right? And it's like Keith always says, he goes, I wouldn't, we're like brothers. You can say things about your brother that you can't say about a guy on the street. Right. And so same thing with us, if Jen, is bashing me or we're talking shit on each other, it's because we can. That doesn't mean we don't love each other.
Right. On the street, just on the street, talking crap.
So,
but here down the street, get Travis Larson.
Well, Jen does do that.
Right, it's true.
She has like what we call Larson Tourette's. So right. You see her walking up the driveway, Larson. So anyway, but I wanted to talk to you guys about this. I thought this would be a good controversial subject that isn't actually controversial, because the rest of it's music related, so we can get into it for fun. without getting in any actual controversies. So I know you guys haven't necessarily dug into much of this, but so the Stones are out right now. Mick is 78 years old. I have video of him on my phone running his ass off the other night. Genesis is out. Anybody that's checked that out, I don't want to say anything bad about them, but there's a lot of opinions going on about that. David Lee Roth just announced 4 days ago that he's retiring after these 6 gigs in Vegas coming up. So what is the line where you decide, should you bow out gracefully, or should you keep doing this forever because it's what you do? And I have many opinions about this, but when I, especially, mentioning the Genesis thing, if anyone that's checked any of that out, what's everybody's take on this?
I don't put any shoulds on it. I know that sounds like I'm just trying to be semantic about it, but every time I hear people weighing in on what they think a band should do, when you're on the inside of it, it always seems like just what people say who don't get it. You know what I mean? Like when as we've gotten older, a lot of bands that were arena bands started showing up on the fair circuit, and then people would go, "Oh, that's so sad. Like, why are they still doing that?" Sort of as though, like, if you don't stop when you're at your peak, everything else is some degree of sad,
Right.
And let's, well, what if you peaked early, or what if you don't care? What if you're just happy to be playing at a fair, or what if you're happy to be playing in a club? And so there's the person who thinks that any deviation from your top appeal is you not giving up on a thing,
Right.
And then there's people, I think we talked about this briefly the other night. If somebody's doing it because they love doing it, even if it's clearly not at the level they used to do it, I'll give them that too. Like, who am I to say they shouldn't be doing it if they like it and there's still enough people to buy tickets? It's not something they're doing to me.
Right.
Right. Like, their legacy is their legacy, and they can do with it what they want. But I know your question. I'm not saying your question's not valid. I know your question is like, how do you feel about that?
Yeah, absolutely. You can always do whatever you want with your legacy, but what do you want to do?
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know.
Jen?
Hey, I would agree with Dale, but at the same time, I do think that as an artist, you owe a little bit of something to that legacy, a little. So it is a strange line, and I do think it's up to the artist to determine what that is for them, but at the same time, trying to be mindful of the fans and how they will respect and react to any deviation from that legacy. So I don't know. It is a really difficult line.
I got some comments here. I saw one that said, Sam said, depends on the band. I 100% agree. I saw one, Goober said, Mick went from putting socks in his crotch to a can of Ensure. First of all, can of Ensure is saving my ass right now because
not doing so well.
I have not to get back on the dental thing, but I have spacers in here where I can't actually put my teeth together. So that's something I didn't mention earlier. So I can't actually chew. They don't do that with everyone with braces. The other guitar player I know that got braces recently, he didn't have that, but I can't chew. So I'm doing some Ensure occasionally, and it's a tasty dessert, I'll tell you. Anyway, lots and lots of pudding I've been buying, and those Reese's Collide, it's what they're called. And it's like where they collide it's like a pudding with chocolate and peanut butter, and oh man. Whew. Anyway, back to music. I think, and Werner said, talking about Phil Collins, he said, Phil is not Pink. I would go see him in a chair if there is musical substance. I completely agree with that. However, some of it's pretty rough. You're getting to the point where you can't hold a tune and things like that. And when that starts happening, I don't know. But I agree that I think Jen said you owe something to your legacy based on the people that support you. And I completely agree with that. And obviously we're huge Rush fans. We're what Zeppelin was to Rush is to Travis Larson Band, right? Or Steve Morris Band or somebody like that. Anybody that's like has not tarnished their legacy in a way. And so I think that you kind of have to be able to, what Dale said about bands going and playing like fairs and things like that when they used to play arenas. All you have to do is go to a Cheap Trick gig to know that, or Joan Jett, to know that if you are somebody that used to play arenas and you do some fairs and stuff like that now, but you are still tearing the roof off the dump completely. Yeah. I don't care. I don't care if you're playing clubs when you used to play for 100,000 people. If you're able to give it all you got, even an older version of that, I mean, the truth is, like, Jen and I went and saw Joan, and she was badass. Yeah, badass.
Do you think you'd prefer to see, though, say Joan like that in a larger club versus a fair? I mean, I know she wasn't just doing the fair circuit, but I don't know. It's a bummer that the fair gets such a bad reputation. Anyways,
don't know why the fair gets a bad reputation.
Because I hear people. Anyway, that's beside the point. I think too, and Travis and I talked about the Stones and how, this probably maybe should be their last big arena tour. And if they want to continue to do it because it makes them happy, it seems like to maintain that legacy of the rock and roll thing, they could do sitting in a smoky blues bar acoustically on some stools and playing blues together, and that would be amazing. That would be so amazing to see that.
That's what I was saying the other day about when Joe Travers and I were talking about the Checker Club gig. Anybody that's seen the Checker Club Chicago gig with Muddy Waters and the Stones from 30 years ago or 40 years ago, if those guys went and got booked like a month every night at the Checker Club in Chicago, and I still think that what they're doing right now is working. Don't get me wrong. But, if Mick's 85 and he can't be Mick Jagger anymore, it's like that scene in Almost Famous when Jimmy Fallon plays the manager and he goes, if you think Mick Jagger's going to be coming out here and rocking out when he's 50, you got another thing coming. Well, here he is, 2 years shy of 80, right? Yeah. And he's still sprinting around through parts of the show, and he's still doing his thing. But go ahead. But I was going to say, but when he's 85, 86, maybe an arena gig is not the gig because you can't fill an arena stage by standing in one spot, So maybe, like Jen said, that's the thing. You go and you do the blues records and you play, but you keep doing it because that's what you do, And I think we can all say Les Paul was not playing to his top ability at the end of his life, but the fact that he was doing this little club in Manhattan every Monday night or whatever it was, badass. That was badass, right? And still funny and entertaining and legendary. But like we were saying, it depends on the band. It depends on what their deal is. But I personally, even for myself, would say, like, if I was somebody, excuse me, burping up some dinner. Yeah. I had some lentils and rice.
Chipping away your legacy there.
Yeah. But I mean, we could do this for a long time. you know, and Steve Morris and Dave LaRue are an example of, you know, those guys. Even with Steve having some issues, there's still stuff that he can do completely 100%. And you know, but I don't want to necessarily see somebody getting wheeled out,
Yeah.
Right.
you know, and just kind of propped up there for the money.
I think Chris's question about, he says, what about bands like Leonard Skinner where almost all of the original members are gone? Does it just become a tribute act at some point?
That is a good question. That's
I mean, I
an
think
interesting topic.
Yeah, right.
And
a touchy one, perhaps.
It's a touchy one, and I definitely I think that there is a band out there that's legendary right now that's playing with nobody from the original band. I don't want to like get in trouble with certain people that I do actually know, but I will say, like, for instance, the Stones. This goes back to who is who. A lot of people are out there saying it's not the Stones anymore. Well, first of all, Mick and Keith are the Stones, right? I mean, I get the dynamic, but like, if you know, if you've got those two guys have known each other since they were like little kids, you know, and they formed the band, and they've been through a lot of members before they were called the Stones, a lot of members after the Stones, you know, so I think you can still call it. But I don't know, if you get down to one guy,
Joe,
or no guy.
Maybe. Sorry, that's funny. I watched the Bill Wyman documentary that Travis suggested I watch, and that was really fascinating. Because he was,
it's called The Quiet One, by the way, for people looking for it. The Quiet One.
He was, you know, one of the dudes too, you know.
Yeah. But the thing is, both Bill and Charlie, which are the other two guys, right, that are not in the Stones. So Charlie said they should keep going. Bill said they should keep going. Bill just didn't want to do it anymore because Bill is 10 years older than those guys. So, you know, he's kind of like Andy Summers in The Police. People didn't necessarily realize Bill was 10 years older, but it was just too much. He said himself, I mean, again, I'm a huge Stones fan. He said it was too much pressure to deal with all the time. It's not that he didn't like playing with the guys. It was that playing on that level and the amount of press and the amount of fame that goes with playing an arena every night, it was that part of it that he was kind of done with. So I get that. And he didn't say, don't go on without me. And there weren't any legal battles, and he still gets plenty of money from that.
This conversation, I realize, is different for a certain what's the word, niche of bands. Like if you're the Stones or Billy Joel, and at a certain level like that, there's kind of a different set of things in play. A minute ago you said when people are wheeling themselves out for money, like the Beatles and the Who and the Stones, we can just be sure that they don't need money. So we look at their decisions in a certain light. And I think a lot of the times people think bands that they grew up with on the radio must be independently rich, every single member of the band too. And so I think most of the conversations about most bands are a little bit different. And so on one hand, the least defensible thing in most people's eyes is to just do it for the money. But at the same time, the things we admire about musicians and artists is the sacrifices they make along the way. And by the time they're middle-aged, they don't know how to do shit else. Like, and the other thing is, if that person if you bumped into that person stocking shelves, the person, I'm not saying this, I just realized I had a follow-up thought, by the way. This is not relevant to the Stones conversation, but the person who said, how sad, why don't you hang it up if you're just doing it for the money? that person, if they saw them stocking shelves at the store, wouldn't go, I admire your integrity. You didn't do it for the money. They would say the same fucking, how sad. That's what they would say.
Yep.
How sad. So like for most of the people out there, it's kind of this no-win. People don't really know what it is they're weighing in on. And I don't know why I brought that up. It's not a reaction to what you just said, Trav.
You know what's interesting about what you just said is the other night I caught 20 Feet from Stardom again on TV, and I love the Darlene Love story. She, you know, I'm huge. I'm way into music history and 60s music and all that stuff, and I used to watch her every year at Christmas time. She'd go on Letterman, and you know, and she was talking about how she was cleaning houses, not really focusing on who she was, quote unquote. And she was like cleaning some lady's toilet, and it was Christmas time, and her song comes on the radio, and she's cleaning the toilet, and she thinks to herself, that's when it hit her. She's like, I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing. You know, and so she kind of restarted her career, sort of like Tina Turner in a way, like midlife, like, you know, maybe in her late 40s or something like that. And it was like, and then was all of a sudden huge again, because she, you know, she would get national television once a Christmas season, and then that would spur on enough publicity to go out and be able to tour and play her catalog. And then she, you know, she did other things to just keep her profile up, you know, like she did the Lethal Weapon movies and stuff like that, which was just to get her profile up as a celebrity so people would listen to her music. But anyway, the point is, sometimes, you know, I think those guys lose sight of their importance based on, you know, how fickle an audience can be. And that's sort of the opposite of what our conversation is. But it's, I'm also really touched by the whole Johnny Johnson story. If anybody knows that story, where he was Chuck Berry's piano player, and Johnny Johnson was driving an old folks home bus. And when Keith Richards did Hail, Hail, Rock and Roll with Chuck Berry, he wanted to find as many original guys as he could. And Johnny Johnson was like the guy. And he goes, well, I got to find Johnny Johnson. And he found him, and Johnny Johnson was driving a bus for old folks. And all of a sudden he was back in the limelight playing with Keith Richards and in a movie. And, you know, that's a guy that just kind of like, not everybody is a go-getter, and not everybody is good at driving the train, so to speak. You know, they're not businessmen, and they're not people that are the force behind everything. They're the guy that's does his job as part of a piece of the puzzle. And if the puzzle goes away, they're kind of left there and don't know where to go with it. And so there's a lot of that kind of stuff in the music business. And that's one of the reasons I love Dave Grohl so much, is because Dave Grohl is just like, I've never thought of this before, but he's kind of like the Quentin Tarantino of rock and roll, you know? It's like Dave Grohl's going to go grab anybody that he loves.
Oh, right.
Regardless of whether people think he's cheesy or he was cool or whatever. And he's going to stick Rick Astley up with him and jam because he thinks that song rocks, and he thinks the dude is cool.
Yes.
And he doesn't care. He doesn't give a shit.
Yeah.
And I think that's amazing. That's exactly who, I mean, that's who I am as a guy who, like, you know, I will, if the jam is good, I'm there. Whether you think it's stupid or cheesy or the music is not your cup of tea, if the jam is good, I'm there. You know what I mean?
Right. Yes.
And that's the way it's always been. And that's the way it is, you know, like when I, you know, whatever, play with people that might not be considered like somebody you would expect me to play with, or those kinds of things, you know? So,
yeah, well, you've got to be able to do things you want to do as a musician. You can't be worrying too much about how it fits into everybody's notion of what you ought to be doing.
Right. Tommy says they made that movie in 1986 because they weren't sure how much longer Chuck had, and Chuck lived another 30 years. That's true.
Right.
So I got to check out some of these comments because I've been.
Yeah. My comments keep fading on my. I keep having to refresh it. I don't know what's going on. I'm old and confused by my iPad.
iPad?
Well, I'm looking at it. Yeah, I can see the comments on the live stream, but I can't see it on the Facebook.
Chris makes a point kind of supporting our earlier point of not touring at the moment and those kind of things. But he says, I've seen plenty of really big name players at small clubs still selling CDs and merch by the door to pay for a hotel and fuel to get to the next gig. Sadly, notoriety alone doesn't pay the bills. So that's absolutely true. And notoriety in a certain niche, is somebody that's famous to somebody else might not be anybody to this guy over here. And another funny example of that is I have some European rock star friends that nobody, like, they're really big but not in my circles, and so the joke is like, you don't know who I am? I'm like, I really don't.
Yeah,
I have no idea, but I mean, now I do.
Well, that's more true now than ever. I mean, when we were in high school, if you asked every kid in class who they listened to, you might not like what they liked, but you've heard of them. You knew who it was. You might not like Depeche
when there was
Mode.
3 networks.
What's that?
When there was only 3 networks, you knew who Van Halen was, and you knew who,
well, when everybody had to be, everything had to be brought into the store by a label, and there's only so many places in the store. Like, it was all curated for everybody. But now, I mean, for the last 10, 15, 20 years, most of my students who are teenagers, like, listen to things that most of the people they know, most of the people they just are having class or something, have never heard of it, have never even fathomed it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, like, there's just such a bigger selection to be sampled, and if you're not actively looking for it, it doesn't come across. You would watch MTV, and even this, you would like some of it, and you wouldn't like some of it, but you saw all of it.
Right.
But anyway, I don't know. Yeah,
there's no picking and choosing.
Yeah, nobody's known to just as large a fraction as they were back in the day.
Which could be a completely dangerous direction if we got into internet algorithms and Facebook.
Yeah, right.
But I mean, back in the day, like you said, you were forced to sit through all kinds of stuff to get to the thing you were waiting for.
Yeah, Tommy says you knew who to ask in your class how to pronounce Yngwie. That was a pretty good comment.
Yeah.
Gino still says Nigwi or something like that. Whatever.
Paul says, Jen, how's your motorcycling going?
Oh goodness.
Sorry.
Can we?
It's going well. Thank you. I got a new motorcycle.
All right, if we're going there, then we're going there. if that's the case, that I'm opening up the photo album here.
Oh no! Wrong way, Val.
All right, hang on.
Yes, recently acquired a Honda Rebel 500, which is a whole 2 times more than the Honda 250. Yeah. So it's been really cool. Yeah.
When I think Rebel, I think of a quaint, like, I don't know, not a big, menacing, gnarly, powerful-looking bike, but the new Rebel is,
yeah, it's pretty cool.
It's gnarly and
pretty
menacing.
Yeah, it's a pretty awesome looking bike.
It's cool.
Let's see if I can get this to focus.
Oh, hey, I haven't seen that picture.
That's pretty good.
There
right?
it is. Yep.
Nice.
Yep.
Awesome.
The old 250, which was originally Kip's, I don't know if I told everybody on this little thing back then that I had finally named it Cygnus, of
Nice.
course, Rush, the God of Balance and all of that, which I thought was pretty cool.
That is good on many levels.
Good on many levels. And so I'm still trying to come up with the name for the 500. I think I have a thing in mind, but it's not totally clear to me. I'd have to make sure the bike is happy with it too. So we've been cruising around. Kip just texted me today, when are we going riding? So yeah, good.
So she's got twice as much power now.
Yeah. I mean, that's still not like some people ride like 1800s and crazy things like that, but it's a good step up for me right now. I still don't have my license. I got to go deal with that before December, and that's where I'm at. That.
Anthony says any bike Jen is on is badass.
Yeah.
So
and I painted Cygnus too. So Cygnus before was like a blue thing, and I painted it black. So it looks pretty cool. I don't know if I have a picture of it. Actually, I might have a picture of that. This is the old girl.
That was impressive.
I got a picture of both of them, but if
not when they you do when they're both when the paint.
Yeah.
Where are you taking all these pictures? There you go.
So the one in the back is the old one, or the one. Let's see, the one that looks like a chopper. A chopper.
Yeah, that's the old one. The old one, right?
Yeah,
and that's the new one.
Right.
The new one is a little more John Wick looking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great. That looks good murdered like that. I remember liking the blue, but the black on black on black.
Yeah, it turned out really cool. I just did high heat flat black, like barbecue grill paint on it. It turned out really good.
Kip mentioned today or last night.
Jen Wick. That's a good one, Goober.
Oh wow, yeah, it is. Yes. When you realize you should have said something 2 months ago.
Right.
Nice.
Oh my gosh.
So Kip told me yesterday he's planning, so my birthday is November 30th. He's planning a ride. He's planning on getting the gang together, and he's going to put the seat. He wants to put the passenger seat back on his motorcycle. He said he'll do it for that day.
Hang on to Kip like this. Oh,
yeah, so me and Kip will be just like
a koala bear.
Yep.
I'll be like the blonde kid in Road Warrior.
Right. We need to get you a collar and a chain.
Anthony.
Oh my god, I'm so doing that. That's gonna be
Anthony says I probably missed the braces comments. Yes, Anthony.
Yep,
yes, please don't make him say it all again. Oh my god.
Yes. Yeah, just go.
That was the first half an hour.
Yeah, you can go back and listen. But yes, it was out of necessity, and the braces versus the Invisalign was like much cheaper and much faster. And since there's not going to be, any touring for a while, I figured let's just get this done.
Yep.
Not only that, all the COVID weight that I put on last year, and I know everybody thinks of me as a skinny guy, but like there's nothing worse than a fat skinny guy, right? Y'all know what I'm talking about. So I was putting on all that weight. So I've been I've taken it all off because I can't eat anything, and I'm still working out. So I'm about as cut as I've ever been.
My first comment was, you're going to be Iggy Pop by the time you get those things off.
Nice. Tommy says a tramp stamp. Yeah.
Ooh.
And Ted says, just don't wear a thong. I'm not sure if that's in response to the motorcycle bits or the braces bits.
Right.
There's nothing like a large sound man riding a gold wing or whatever it is.
Oh, right. Yes.
With a guy on the back wearing braces and a thong.
That would be amazing. And a tramp stamp.
Yeah. I think
she's waiting for the toenail tutorial.
So I don't know what else you guys got. How we doing? I know it's 11:12 on the East Coast. And it's a weeknight. So
yeah, true.
I wanted to shout out, since we had mentioned a few other people who've left us. I wanted to shout out, and someone mentioned him earlier, was Norm Macdonald. I was really totally blown away by that, and he was just such an amazing artist and fascinating human being, and that was a big one for me. And it sucks.
Norm Macdonald was the biggest. I will call him an internet troll, but he was a life troll.
Mhm.
And I mean this with all the love in the world.
Yeah,
But he was the
right.
biggest troll there
Yeah.
is. And if it was going above your head, you hated the guy. And
Mhm.
if it wasn't, you thought he was brilliant and hilarious.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
seeing that guy, I mean, he would do things that like nobody even realized he was doing because he had like a personal little thing with the person he was interacting with, you know, like on a talk show, or
Yeah.
like when he went on The View and just proceeded to like offend the crap out of everybody because it's The View. And they told
Right.
him when he went out there, they give him like all these lame bits where the producer of the show gave him a cell phone and had him stick it in his pocket, and he was going to call him and have it be a bit where Norm would answer the phone and say, "Oh, my producer's on the phone," and then there would be some sort of like improv comedy thing, and they were going to do that if it got slow. And so he went out there and proceeded to say all the stuff that they told him not to say. And then when his phone ringed, he picked it up and he goes, "Yeah, this is your producer calling me. He told me to put this in my jacket because he thought it would be funny."
Right.
It's like
Would
in
not.
Bull Durham when the pitcher like won't listen to the catcher's signals and he's like, "Wow, he hit it out of the park." He's like, "Yeah, I told him." It just like reveals the bit.
It was
Right.
so great, man. The fact that he would like just completely troll everybody that was telling him anything that he was supposed to do. And then he does the roast. I think it was the Bob Saget roast,
Yeah.
and they told him like the dirtier the better, and he's like, "I've never done a roast before," and they're like, just completely get as mean and as dirty as you can get, and he refused to do that. So he went out there and he told 1930s jokes for
Yeah.
like 10
Yeah.
minutes. I mean, it
Yeah.
was just like just the most white bread, unoffensive, stupid dad jokes you've ever heard, like pull my finger jokes,
Yeah.
you know? And everybody, and the comedians were dying and the audience was just dead. Like they were like, the audience was like, "I don't get any of this. This
Yeah.
guy's not funny." But the
Yes.
comedians on stage knew what was happening and they were on the floor rolling, just crying.
Yeah.
So
Any level that you don't think anything of his is funny, you become aware that everybody who's professionally funny gets it on some level you don't.
yeah, right. And then like Chuck mentioned the OJ thing,
Yeah, right.
where he was just like just relentless on
Relentless.
OJ because
Yeah.
NBC told him don't tell any more OJ jokes, and then he
Yeah.
just every week, okay, that's all I'm going to do is tell OJ jokes when he was
I
doing
always
Saturday
like
Night Live.
I always like when comedians have something philosophical, you know, like the Carlin thing. And one of the more philosophical things I heard from Norm, you know how comedians find it fun. Some comedians find it funny to bomb because it's just so awkward, you know.
Norm
Especially,
finds it funny to bomb.
yeah, especially if other comedians are there because they all just think it's so funny because it's so
Mhm.
bad. Um, and I just heard him explain it once in a way that I thought was I just always think about as interesting, where he goes, it's not just that it's awkward and it's funny. He goes, I just find it really interesting that you paid me, you thought I was the guy, and I prepared. We all wanted to have a good time. I showed up and I had my material, and you all showed up to have a good time. And now you're not having a good time, and I can't make you have a good time. Like, how are we all failing at this?
Right.
It's the funniest like take
Right.
on that I've heard.
Dude, it's such a cool one of the, you know, I am not an LA guy, and I make no bones about that. We've talked about it. Generally speaking, there's a small niche of people in LA that I like that come to see us, and that's pretty much it. But I was born in LA. LA is a soulless wasteland of industrialism where people go to make money. That's what it is. Not to
Wow, Travis.
be offensive towards LA or anything.
Oh,
I mean,
no, not at all.
there's a real soul
Certainly
to
not
LA.
to be offensive.
Well, there's a soul to LA, right? There's like the real, you know, there's like generations of people that have been there. And then there's people that travel there to become famous people because that's what you do. And that whole city is riddled with them. And they're plastic people with plastic lips and all that stuff. Anyway, I know I'm an opinionated asshole. It's fine. But anyway, the point is that for a while there, I was going down and going to the Improv, to these jams that there's a band made up of like Brian has been part of it. Brian Beller, Keneally's been part of it, and it's various incarnations, sort of the guy that the band and the guy that does Metalocalypse, right? Brandon, yeah. So Brendan Small. So Brendan Small has various musicians friends, and he would do these weekly off night things at the Improv where the band would play. Just it was like comedy and music and all this stuff. And just going back to the Norm Macdonald thing, you would see guys like that show up there just to do bits and like try material out. And so that was like such a fun, cool scene to be around legendary guys like that would just go in like on a Monday night, and they'd go in last, like they were just trying stuff out, and the show would almost be over, and it would be, like a weeknight at like, 11:30 at night or something. And I was in there one night when those guys were doing their thing, and Brendan Small would do a thing where like he would just completely improv with the band. His guitar player was the guitar player for the Jimmy Kimmel show, and like it was like various heavy hitting dudes that are just phenomenal, and they were. He would say something like, "Okay, name a band," and somebody would say Metallica. He'd go, "Name a style of music." Someone would say reggae, and then they'd play like Enter Sandman reggae style. They just okay, 1, 2, 3, gent, and they would just do it. And then Kevin Nealon was there, who was also a Weekend Update guy, and he got up on stage one night and he goes, "You guys know the Joker?" And they're like, "Yeah, man, we know the Joker." And he's like, "Count it off." And it was like he just decided he was going to sing the Joker, like for no reason. And then he was just climbing around in the audience with a microphone, like getting people to sing along with him. But that's that scene, which is like totally part of that scene that Norm Macdonald is always talking about, where he would go down and try out material and work through stuff. And it's that is like kind of the cool part of LA is like real artists that are kind of there, it's like they're kind of stuck there because that's the industry, but there is a soul to parts of LA. That scene is one of those parts of, the whole kind of Norm Macdonald old school comedy scene where those guys will just do whatever they want and get up on stage and try stuff and bomb and not care and have fun. And it's kind of like the open jam night version. It's like that's what our world would be if it was like open jam night and we're just going to get up and play like Stones tunes and that kind of stuff. So
right. Yeah.
I was going to mention Jeff Easton just said, "What's up, everybody?"
Oh, hey.
Jeff
Easton, bass player extraordinaire from the Great Northwest, and tours with us.
And Paul Seitel just said, "Hey, hope to see you guys in the Pacific Northwest too." He's Ray's horn player.
Yeah.
Yep.
Somebody says, "Please start a punk rock band."
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
No, you don't want to see that.
And okay, I have another thing to bring up. It's crazy. How does this work?
Yeah, right. Everything's backwards.
The 600 million Powerball.
Oh, that was the first comment on our thing tonight.
Was won right near here.
For anyone that watched it, it was 700 million. It was 690 something million.
When you're in the 600 million range, give or take 100 million.
Right. So the $700 million Powerball was won. The ticket was purchased at Jen and my grocery store.
One of them. Do you know about this, Dale?
I just barely. I trip out on the fact that I only know because people like Trav might have sent me like a little news blurb or something like that about it, but I don't know somehow I'm not aware of anything about lottery.
$700 million. Now, I'm absolutely a guy that does not worry about, I'm not driven by money, obviously, or I wouldn't be sitting here with you guys right now. But is there a moth in there or something, Jen? What's going on?
Yeah. No, yes, there was something.
So I rarely get into the fantasizing about money thing, but I was thinking $700 million is an amount of money that would actually, in a good way, change my life within an hour, like instantly. Like that's so much money.
What
It's
would you go
ridiculous.
buy? Like a lot of cheese, right? Like that commercial. I could so totally buy all of this cheese.
Well, I told Jen, I said I'd give you everybody in our circle $100 million to start with, as long as they all, as long as everybody promised. Yeah, you all have to promise to keep the band together. But other than that,
I have a recurring nightmare along those lines, and for some reason, the nightmare is about not 700, but $7 million, where I win it, and then I put a fair amount of it toward the band, and then I give my sister's family. Anyway, I'm like, okay, good. Now I got this, and in the dream I forget that half of it's going to go to taxes, and I've overextended it. So I won $7 million, and I messed up, and I owe like $2 million.
Oh no!
Anyway, go ahead, Trav. But that's totally a recurring dream of mine.
but I mean that's the thing is, and then there's just little stuff like with $700 million, you could instantly go wherever you want to go right now.
Yeah.
Like right now, it's like, hey, we should all go get a deep dish pizza with Joe Narduli. We'll be there tomorrow night.
Would you get Invisalign if you had won $700 million?
I don't know. I would probably look into can't you just surgically put these things where they go?
Okay. Give me that guy's head. I'll take that.
If I
right.
that guy's head.
Right.
Now, are people more savvy nowadays, or is it still true? Because at a certain point, I think it was pretty well established that big lottery winners are worse off in every way, including financially, after they win, right? Like that eventually shapes up. But maybe people are getting more aware.
There's a lot of dumb people out there, though.
Well, I mean, I don't know. Like I said, the demos may be changing, but generally speaking, the people who do play the lottery fall into a demo that doesn't necessarily have money managing skills, right? So like they used to just be I don't know. I feel like I've read enough to convince myself that was true at one time. I don't know if it still is.
Well, hopefully this particular instance, they will manage it well. It will be a wonderful experience for all.
Like for instance, though, you could say, instead of using like orchestra samples and things on the next record, we just get the LA Philharmonic.
That'd be a pain in the ass.
Yeah, that doesn't sound fun.
It wouldn't be a pain in the ass to you, because you hire a musical director.
Oh yeah, because I would see myself being like this, do like that.
Yeah. Right.
Or people to disappoint. I don't know.
Then you just hire Michael McDonald to sit in your house and play your piano while you have dinner. Like you don't.
That probably wouldn't be my first choice.
Yeah, I'm not hanging around you after you win the lottery. You're gonna have like Billy Joel's gonna be hanging out in the kitchen or something.
Are you saying that hanging with Billy Joel would not be a good time? You could hire John Williams. Sam said it right there. There you go.
There you go.
There you go.
Would be like,
nice.
Oop.
Yes. Yep.
John Williams would score the string parts to the next record, right? And
all
then
right.
we were in Skywalker Studios.
Some of the stuff I was going to say about Norm had to do with gambling, but I not to pull us back to that too much.
Yo-Yo Mall with your waffles in the morning. See, this is why I love our people.
That's good.
These are my people.
That would be
okay. You know that story about Norm, speaking of gambling, like about how he did have that legit dark side where he would gamble, and there was Artie Lang tells that story about how he won big and he just had a whole bunch of cash, and they were walking around, and he just threw it in the ocean, and it was like, what the hell? Why? You just threw $30,000 in the ocean, and I'm not getting the detailed story right, but it was tens of thousands of dollars or something.
Yeah,
and it's like, it's stupid. It's like, I'm just gonna lose it. It's just this whole like he totally had perspective on his gambling thing, you know. But anyway, I just heard another story recently. Now I can't even remember who said it. That's why I didn't mention it earlier, but it kind of corroborated that in my mind, where he said he was once at Norm's house, and he had like $100,000 worth of casino chips in the house, and they were just laying around, like he hadn't cashed them out. And his take was like, well, once you cash them, you're taxed on them, and I'm just going to lose them anyway. Like,
wow.
It was like, it was the same type of thing. He was like, and he did,
right.
you know, just eventually he didn't have $100,000 of the chips laying around. But he's like, they're just going to tax you on it, and I'm just going to lose them. So what's the point?
Right.
Wow, that's a very good Norm there, Dale.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Thanks.
But the thing is,
gonna love them anyway. What's the point?
the thing is, we've spent our entire lives in a van learning how to live off of $8,000 a year.
Oh, right.
So you can't relate to the fact that you would not be productive with this money.
Yeah, I know. Anyway, I didn't need to drag us back
I
to
am
that,
not going to blow this money on a bowl full of cocaine, Sam. This money would go. In fact, I would go so far as to say, with $700 million, everybody that shows up to these live chats, we pay to go to the gigs.
Yeah, we could spread that shit around.
Like the rest of the world can show up and pay a ticket price, but you guys, you know, like, well, you show up to the gig and we'll give you $50 and free beer.
We'll send out special badges, you know, and you show the badge and you get in and you get beer. Yeah, they would need the stinking badges, but still they would have it. And then you just be like, I'm one of the TOV Packers.
Yep. Yeah, everybody gets a front stage pass.
Right.
So anyway.
All right. Anyway, what else? Is it time?
Tommy says I'm still buying the merch. Attaboy.
Yay!
Jen, with the Norm Macdonald comment, Jen got us a whole nother half hour. We went from 8 to 8:30.
Nice.
Well, I did, want to pay my respects in those things.
That was a good call. You're right.
He was important.
That was a big deal.
He was a really unique and special and deep individual that I don't think most people realize. And it's pretty cool.
Agreed.
And happy Halloween, everybody. I don't know when we'll be back.
Yep.
We really got to get cracking.
We were talking about potentially doing some random updates more often than every 8 months.
Yes.
So we may see you, more like around the end of the year or between now and then. So hey, Greg's
the holidays.
Here.
Hey, Greg.
Greg's one of our awesome Bay Area guys.
I was trying to see. I still haven't seen. All right.
So
it was so good to see everybody. Thank you.
Yes, I know. I haven't been.
Thank you for hanging out. Thank you for the East Coast guys for hanging in there, because I know it's 11:30 there now on a Wednesday. And like I said, we chose Wednesday because we didn't want to compete with all the Saturday activities. I will mention, Tom just reminded me that we do have all our merch and tip links in the description of this very video that you're watching. And there's we have merch on demand if you want to buy hoodies and girls t-shirts and all that kind of stuff. So that is all something that you can find on the what's the link, Jen, that's on, just so they know which link is which?
The Threadless.
The Threadless. It's
Artist
called the
Shop.
Artist Shop. Thank you.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So the TLB Artist Shop is that, and then the TLB merch page is our website page where you can buy CDs and old tour t-shirts and that kind of stuff. And I think we still have a bunch of Suspension tour t-shirts, original ones that are 20 years old this year, because it's the 20th anniversary of Suspension. So we still have those. They're still on sale on the website. And if you want to buy Jen some like breakfast cereal or something, there's the tip jar. So
I need the breakfast cereal so badly.
But I appreciate everybody's support. We are working on the record. We are making progress. We are going to have something out next year. We're hoping, crossing our fingers, that we'll be able to do something of some reasonable level. And for those in the San Luis area, or if you feel like traveling, keep an eye on our social media between now and early December. And there might be a few little live things happening. We'll see. I'm having a large birthday. Did I mention that?
Large.
I'm a large monumental birthday. I'm turning 30 years old.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, that was
You
the first
wish.
DVD.
Right.
So, good to see everybody.
Yeah, it's so good to see everybody.
Yeah, it
Thank
is.
you.
It is. Yes.
I miss everybody so much. Oh my gosh.
I don't know if
Oh my gosh.
Jen didn't get an instrument together, but you could sing,
Nope.
sing for us, Johnny.
Oh my god.